Since I started my professional journey, something always bothered me: the noise. Social media, comparisons, the show-off culture. It felt like to make money you had to shout. It was only when I decided to do things differently, to earn in silence, that my life turned upside down, in the best way. I realized that many successful women thrive without the need to be seen, because they play chess, not checkers. They build with patience, not hype. And I discovered that this silent mode can actually speed up your growth when paired with strategy. In this video, I'm going to share 10 habits that allowed me to make money far from the spotlight and speed up my financial growth. No escaping your reality. It all fits into the life of someone who starts with little, but with vision. These are simple but powerful habits that pulled me out of the anxiety loop and into a cycle of conscious creation and growth I didn't expect to achieve so soon. Leave a like and subscribe to the channel, because what we're about to explore will change how you earn and multiply money. No noise, no drama, just results. Habit 1. I stopped sharing my plans and started sharing my numbers. In the beginning, I talked too much about what I was going to do, about what I dreamed of, about my brilliant ideas. But the truth? Nothing happened, because talking gives a false sense of progress. And I was more interested in looking determined than actually being determined. Silence became a turning point. I started keeping my plans to myself, doing before telling, calculating before getting excited. And that changed everything. Because when you take your ego out of the picture, the focus shifts back to what matters: the numbers. I started tracking what came in, what went out, what grew. No shame about the low numbers at first. No anxiety over instant results. But with discipline to measure my progress through charts, not likes. It was in that silence that I built my security. Every dollar tracked, every cent invested with strategy. Not to show anyone anything, but so I'd never feel dependent on my next paycheck or someone else's favor again. And believe me, money respects those who treat it truthfully. Tell me in the comments, are you more focused on proving or on prospering? Habit 2. I created multiple income streams without putting myself out there. When I realized that relying on a single income stream was risky, I got a knot in my stomach. But instead of panicking or falling into the trap of selling anything overnight, I took a different path. I did it quietly. I researched, studied, tested, built a side project at night without telling anyone, signed up for platforms that generate passive income, launched a mini digital business that almost no one knows is mine. While many people chase applause, I started chasing freedom. And that took something people rarely talk about. Making money without drawing attention requires more strategy than bravery. I had one rule: if the income source relied on someone else's opinion to work, it wasn't solid. So I went after scalable, automated, and sustainable solutions. Today, several of these sources bring in small amounts, but combined, they allow me to breathe, and more than that, to multiply. Because through them, I began reinvesting what I earn, instead of spending it all just to look successful. Comment below. I want income streams that set me free, not enslave me. If you also want your money to work for you, not the other way around. Habit 3. I started treating my money like an employee, not a trophy. For a long time, I saw money as a reward, something that, when it showed up, was cause for celebration. And like all celebrations, it came with impulsive spending, emotional purchases, and a false sense of, I deserve it. The problem? The money didn't stay. I worked, earned, spent, and started over. That's when I stopped seeing money as a trophy and started treating it like an employee. Yes, an employee. Someone I hire to generate returns. And if it doesn't deliver results, I reassign it. If it performs better in another department, I change its role. This mindset shift made me stop spending in a rush and start allocating with purpose. I created categories. One part for reinvesting in myself, one part for building assets, one part for multiplication, one part for living lightly, guilt-free. And that's when money started to grow. Because it had a role, a direction, and it stopped slipping through my fingers like sand. Earning money in silence is important, but multiplying it with intelligence is what really takes you to the next level. Comment below. My money works for me, not the other way around. If you're also ready to stop chasing and start commanding your resources with strategy. Habit 4. I became selective about who I listened to, and more loyal to what I felt. At first, all I did was ask questions. I asked what people thought of my idea, if I should invest or not, if it was the right time, the right path, the right project. The result? A zillion opinions and zero clarity. Because everyone answers based on their own fears, their own limits, their own story. That's when it hit me. If I wanted to make money in silence, I also needed to grow with discernment. I started muting the noise of too much advice, stopped seeking validation from people who never built what I wanted to live, and I learned to trust my inner radar. Yes, I kept studying. Yes, I listened to mentors and people with real results, but I filtered, reflected, adjusted to my reality. The truth is, no one understands your path better than you, and the more aligned you are, the clearer your intuition becomes. The more you learn to trust the process, the more you avoid detours. Today my circle is quiet, my steps are calculated, and my peace is worth more than any approval. Comment below, less opinion, more direction, if you're also ready to tune out the noise and tune into your own wisdom. Habit 5. I learned to love the routine no one sees, because it pays for my choices. While the world romanticizes peaks of productivity and viral moments, I realize that what truly pays my bills and builds my freedom is the routine no one sees. It's not the day I sign a contract. It's the day I open my laptop, exhausted, and still get things done. It's not when I get public praise. It's when I quietly tweak an action plan no one even knew existed. That invisible space is where everything changed. I became friends with consistency. I got close to light, non-oppressive discipline. And most importantly, I stopped thinking my life had to be exciting all the time to be on the right track. I started valuing the simple things. Waking up early without a fuss. Reviewing goals without posting about it. Saving money without having to justify it. My routine became my signature. And that signature started generating results no rush could ever deliver. Because here's what no one tells you. True financial building happens in the shadows, not on stage. Comment below. My silent routine is funding my freedom. If you've also realized that consistency is the invisible engine behind women who prosper. Habit 6. I turned silence into strategy, and presence into power. I used to think being silent meant being insecure. Now I understand silence means ownership. From someone who knows what they're building, who doesn't need to shout to prove what they're doing, who values focus over exposure. When I stopped explaining my moves, I also stopped sabotaging myself, because I realized that too much talking came from doubt, from the need to reinforce something I didn't fully believe myself. But when something is truly yours, you don't need to defend it with words. You hold it with action, with delivery, with presence. And it was in that quiet space that I had my best ideas, that I created out-of-the-box plans, that I executed with precision while the world was distracted. My presence became my edge, my silence my strategy, and the clarity it brought turned into real profits. If there's one thing I've learned, it's this. Women who prosper don't shout, they decide. Comment below, my silence is strategy, if you're also starting to turn presence into power and results. Habit 7. I started investing in myself before investing anywhere else. This was one of the most uncomfortable and transformative decisions I've ever made, to stop looking for ready-made formulas and start treating myself as the most urgent investment. At first, it felt counterintuitive. I didn't make much, and every time I thought about spending on a course, a mentorship, a consultation, the doubt crept in. Is it worth it? Wouldn't it be better to save this money? But I had already tried saving without direction, and all I got was stagnation. It was only when I changed the question, from how much does it cost, to how much can this earn me, and that my life started spinning at a new pace. I invested in knowledge, in tools that optimize my time, in care that keeps my mind clear, and even in therapy, to clean out beliefs that were blocking my growth. And you know what happened? I increased my income, gained clarity, put in less effort for more return. Because when you grow on the inside, money starts respecting you on the outside. It stops running away and starts serving you. It's not about luxury. It's about vision. And you can't multiply what you don't understand. Comment below. I am my most profitable investment. If you've also realized that your evolution is worth more than any financial application. Habit 8. I paid off my mental debts before clearing my financial ones. This might be the most delicate part of my financial turning point. Because while I was worried about paying bills, my thoughts were full of far worse debts. That voice saying, "You're never getting out of this. You started too late. You're not good with numbers. You weren't born for this." And guess what? No debt in the world is more paralyzing than those beliefs. It was only when I decided to clear my mind that money started to flow. I replaced guilt with commitment, self-sabotage with responsibility, fear with strategy. And I understood. You can't get out of financial debt if you're locked in an emotional prison. While I carried fear, anxiety, and shame, I was blocking abundance. This isn't mystical talk. It's reality. Money needs mental space. And that space I had to create. With reading, with consistent affirmations, with emotional discipline, because financial freedom starts inside and only then shows up outside. Comment below, freedom starts in the mind, if you've also realized that paying off your internal debts is the first real step toward wealth. Habit 9. I adopted a standard of excellence. Even in invisible tasks, I used to do the bare minimum, especially when it came to things no one would see. If no one was going to read that email, why proofread it? If it was just another post with a few views, why go the extra mile? And then I got it. The universe rewards standards, not spectators. I started doing everything with excellence, from a simple spreadsheet to my personal financial planning. I dressed well even on days when no one saw me, organized my space, met deadlines I set for myself, woke up at the time I promised, even if no one would notice. This created a new level of respect, not from others, from me to me. And that respect turned into action, and those actions turned into profit. You only become a wealthy woman on the outside after you become a committed one on the inside. Comment below, I am excellence, even when no one's watching, if you've also decided to act like your rich self, starting now. Habit 10. I planned my freedom like a project, not a miracle. For a long time, I waited for the perfect moment. The turning point. That magical opportunity that would change everything. But it never came. And while I waited, I stayed stuck. That's when I decided to treat my freedom like a project. With phases. With goals. With timelines. With responsibility. I created a folder on my computer called Freedom Plan. Listed the habits that had to die. The ones that needed to be born. The financial steps. The mental habits. The investments. It didn't come together overnight. But with each step, my life began to shift. And today, I can say with confidence, it was the most profitable and liberating project I've ever started. Freedom doesn't just show up. It's built. And it takes action, not wishful thinking. Comment below. My freedom is a work in progress. If you're also committed to treating your next phase with seriousness and vision. Today, looking at everything I've built in silence, I understand that wealth doesn't start in the bank. It starts in how you think, act, and decide when no one's watching. Each of these 10 habits didn't come from a desire to prove anything to anyone, but from a need to build a life that was mine and mine alone. Sustainable, intentional, prosperous, and free. If there's one thing I've learned along the way, it's this. Money is the consequence of positioning, of how you treat yourself, how you organize yourself, how you respect yourself. And if you've made it this far, it's because you're also ready for this next level. The level where you no longer have to explain yourself, where your actions speak for you, where your silent routine starts building the future you've been dreaming of. Now I want to hear from you. Which of these habits do you already practice, or will start applying today? Write it in the comments. Your story might inspire another woman who needs to take her first step. And if this video helped you get clearer on your next steps, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone else who needs to thrive, quietly. Because making money is good, but doing it with ease, strategy, and autonomy is even better. See you in the next video, and until then, keep growing in silence, prospering with purpose, and living like someone who already knows. True luxury is freedom.